Hi everyone, this is Amanda Ellis. It's the 19th of March 2018 and this is second video that I've done today, following on from a video just now where I was linking into the energies of Vladimir Putin, Donald Trump and Prince William. And I'm going to do this video, which is probably going to be not as long because I've got an hour before I have to go out, but I wanted to do it whilst I'm in the flow. We're going to look at Justin Trudeau now, the Canadian PM. Actually, it feels like there's a nice flow to what we're doing because we started off with Putin and Trump, who both hold a very patriarchal male energy. Then Spirit told me to take a look at Prince William, which I did, and we were entering into the energy of the divine feminine within a masculine body. And now I'm looking at Justin Trudeau, who feels like he very much has that as well. I'm just clearing my space, and I've been told to not just spray the white around me. I've also got some incense burning just to let go of the other energies we were just linking into. But I'm also going to use the hope spray, okay? The divine, for me this is very much linked into the divine feminine as well. Look at that beautiful colour. So lime green, just to herald in looking at Justin Trudeau. I have to say I know nothing at all about Canadian politics, but that's probably a good thing when you're channeling, to not know very much. So I can come into this blind, as it were. All I know is that he's the Prime Minister of Canada. I think it's Prime Minister, isn't it? Or is it President? I don't know. Anyway, he's your leader. So this is the picture that I'm using for Justin. And like I've done with the other three just now, we are going to be asking permission for his higher self for me to be able to link into him, which I have. And we're going to channel through any messages that want to come. I'm going to use some cards, some crystals and some sprays to do this. I'm just looking down because I'm looking at his picture. I'm feeling a stress and a pain along my right jaw as I'm looking at him. And I'm actually looking at his picture. He does have quite a strong jawline. Can you see that? Sounds a funny thing to comment on as the first thing, but I'm being drawn to my right jaw. It's like it's aching. I feel like is he quite talkative? Feels like he can, sounds rude, but he can talk the hind legs off a donkey, as we say over here in the UK. Very talkative. I think that's why my jaw's hurting. But it's the right hand one, and it's the right ear as well. The right hand side of the body is the masculine side of the body. It's the masculine energy. So he's really tired and sick of this old male energy that is around in the world. And he's come in to really shake things up. And he does stand for a different approach to being a leader in what is still a man's world, unfortunately, at the top of the pile. Okay, what do you want to say then to me, Justin? What's going on here with you? He has got a look about him. It's not just the fact that he looks quite young for his age. I'm looking into his eyes and I'm really seeing the young boy beneath the man, who was very, interestingly, very old for his age. As a young boy, he was old for his age, and now he's in a position of power. He actually looks young for his age. So that's quite a contradiction, which Spirit finds quite funny. But I tell you what, as a young boy, he was really ruthless in terms of being determined to make it to the top. he might not have known what he meant by making it to the top. He might not have known that he was going to go into politics, but he was very driven. I used the word ruthless earlier to talk about Putin. It's not the same energy at all. It's just very, he's very tunnel visioned. He's got a very strong integrity. I'm hearing the word integrity. He's got a lot of integrity. He's very much about finding the balance, because I'm looking at him and it's as though I'm seeing this pole. It's like an energy running through him. And then we've got the right and the left, the male and the female. And all the time, it's like he's trying to juggle and go back to a centre point. So I don't know whether he is he a centre point politician? I have no idea. But that's what he feels as though he is. He doesn't feel as though he would go too far one way or another. And if he did, it feels like he would always correct himself and go back to centre. I'm being shown one of those silly children's toys. It's not him that's silly, but it's just the toy is silly. I think they were called Weebles, and they used to wobble, and they had a base which was a ball. And so the Weeble would always wobble, but eventually it would come back to a standing position. And that's what I'm seeing with him. But there's also that thing, Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. God, the power of advertising, hey? I remember that was a strap line from the God knows when, 1980s. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. So he does sometimes take the odd, knock, and he has fun made of him. I mean, I do know a little bit about him. There was something where he went to, was it India recently? And he was doing all the sort of ethnic dancing, and I felt like good for him, but I know he got the rib taken out of him a bit for doing that. Because it's like, what on earth does he think he's doing? Again, it's like the old guard. What on earth does he think he's doing? He's a prime minister. Why is he behaving like that? And it's like, I think probably in his own mind, he knows sometimes that he just goes, he can't help himself. I'm hearing the words, he's like an exuberant puppy. He's like a puppy dog. He's like an exuberant puppy that wants to just enjoy life. And there are times when he almost forgets that he is actually Prime Minister. And he just behaves like a normal bloke. But in a way, that's good. Because look around you at what we've got as stereotypes in the world in terms of our leaders. And I've got good old Theresa May sitting here beside me, her photograph. She's the next one to do. I might just put her up as a contrast, because love her or loathe her, and she is a bit like Marmite. You either do love her or loathe her. There's not a lot of middle ground. She is very much your traditional politician, She puts on her suit, she goes out of the front door, she puts on her mask, and she knows that she has to behave in a certain way, and she never steps out of line. There was a funny thing in the news last week with her where she was meeting a crowd of people, and she did, I'm terribly uncool, so I can never do any of these hand gestures, but whatever the thing is where you're supposed to go like that and meet somebody's palm halfway, she tried to do it, but she went like that. She didn't do it correctly, and they sort of said, oh, Theresa's doing the, whatever this thing is called. And it was so not like her to do it. She never does things like that. She's very straight-laced. Whereas with Justin, he's the complete opposite. It's like he almost has to be told to put the suit on. He'd much prefer to spend a day in government in his jeans and a t-shirt, I'm feeling, and a pair of sneakers. So does he run? I'm wondering whether he runs, or he certainly feels as though he's quite athletic. I'm seeing a pair of white trainers on his feet. They're probably symbolic. If he hadn't gone into politics, he would have been a good sportsman, I'm hearing. Because again, it's the same thing. To be a top athlete, you have to have that sense of drive. You have to really believe in yourself. And you actually have to be, again, ruthless, but not in a negative way, just in a way that excludes all the silliness. It's like, I can't be doing with that. I'm going to be the top politician, or I'm going to be the top sportsman. I'm going to have to say no to that invitation. I'm going to have to say no to that person because they're a distraction. So he's a really interesting character because on the one hand, he's quite unconventional, and I see him a bit Obama-like, you know, sort of like sitting back in his chair with, you know, a t-shirt and jeans on and quite chilled out and relaxed. But on the other hand, there's this very ruthless, you know, he's not, don't underestimate him either. He's that line, I keep seeing a line all the way through him, and oh, okay, that's interesting. It's a line of steel, you know, he's got a centre of steel, but he's also very connected to spirit. That line that I'm seeing running all the way through him is the chakra system that is completely open. Video 1 that I've done, which if you haven't watched, watch it because it will make more sense of what I'm talking about here. But when I was just channeling Trump or tuning into Trump, it very clearly showed me that Trump's crown chakra was completely blocked and his base chakra was completely blocked. So there was just this, you know, volatile energy sort of swirling around in the middle of his body, not being able to escape, which is very worrying for his health actually. But also his spiritual health, because he's not hearing spirit, and he's not being able to release what needs to be released either through his physical body. But with Trudeau, it's like this line completely coming through him, very open to the higher realms, whether he knows it or not, he is. And what's interesting about him is he's able to bring it to earth. And so few of them are able to do that. And I'm saying them because it is a bit of a club. And it's like he doesn't want to be part of the old boys club. He wants to make his own club. I'm being given the analogy of a golf club. And in the UK, golf clubs are terrible because they still are bastions of male dominance, mostly, with the token woman that can be allowed if, you know, the board allows that to happen. And he's like, I don't want to belong to a club like that. I want to belong to a club where, you know, the kids can come and the wife can come and, you know, we can all have chili afterwards and have a good time and we can wear what we want to wear. That's his whole energy. He's very much like that. He has to remember that he is actually Prime Minister at times. It's not like he's a loose cannon, but he's just, again, it's like this bouncing puppy dog, this weeble that's wobbling a little bit. And he'll always come back to centre because ultimately he is connected. He's connected into his purpose. He has a purpose and he's here to do things and he will do them and he will bring them to earth and he will see it through. If he was a tree, he'd be like a willow. You know, he's able to bend and to be flexible and to be adaptable. He's also got the ability to stretch out his branches, symbolically, to make peace with people who he needs to. He's willing to walk the extra mile, I'm hearing Spirit say. He's actually got an energy about him of namaste. The divine in me sees the divine in you. It's like I'm looking at him, I'm able to see his divinity, but it's like when he looks at you, he would also be able to see your divinity, even in the person that you don't particularly want to be around. You know, and this might be people on the world stage. He has the ability to, he tries to actually really see who you are. Who are you? You know, it's quite a special quality. Of all of the men so far that I've looked at in this little mini-series that I'm doing, which is Putin, Trump, Prince William, and now we're into Trudeau. Trudeau's the one that's coming through as the most spiritual. Because when we looked at Prince William, although William has got aspects of spirituality to him, most definitely, and he has a spiritual mission, he's very guided by Princess Diana. It's almost like he can't do it without her. What came through in that video was there was this contract between the two of them. And it's like they are doing it together. It really is. She's very much leading him, guiding him. And although Trudeau he's got his own spirit guides, he is connected into that. There's a whole journey with the spiritual path, which is that ultimately we get to a place where we are completely in tune with our higher self. And he's very in tune with his higher self. He's very in tune with his own soul. And that unnerves people. That really does unnerve people, which is why when he was doing that funny dance in India, he didn't care. He didn't care what people thought. He was just going for it because in that moment, that's what his inner child wanted to do. And he was enjoying it. And he was just, you know, he was embracing the moment. He was in the magenta ray. He was in the present moment. and he was being a bridge of some description. And then it's like he suddenly remembered, oh, actually, I'm Prime Minister, maybe I shouldn't behave like that. But he can't help it because that's who he is. Let's pull some cards for him. And we'll use the same deck that we've used for the other leaders because it's interesting if you get similar ones coming up. It's funny, I've put Theresa May above him, just in terms of my desk. Not in terms of position of power in the world, just that she's sort of there. I don't know, I'm just wondering why I've put her there, right above his head. Almost as though, I wonder what was going on with his mother. I wonder whether he had a very strong mother. I think he had a very strong mother. Right, Trudeau. Let's have 4 cards for Justin Trudeau. Anything that you would like us to know about this man or what is to come in? The world. Right, that is interesting. And these videos really tie into each other. So you really do need to watch the first video if you haven't, because I'm feeling a pressure on the back of my head before I pulled that card. I'm feeling pressure on the back of my head. This isn't to do with him. This card came in with Trump, and it came in after the card of the storm warning. Something collapsing, the wall collapsing, that wall. I don't think it's ever going to be built personally, but the wall is symbolic. The wall will come down. There's something coming in for Trump and Trump's America and the empire linked to Trump where it comes crashing down. That's what we found in video 1. And then I asked Spirit what comes in after the storm warning, and we got this card, which is the card of the world, which is a complete new start. And Justin Trudeau has got this card number 1 in his little mini reading I'm doing here with him. So he feels as though he is one of the world leaders that picks up the pieces. And at the end of the day, Canada is a very close neighbour to America. So, you know, neighbours should look after each other and should be there for each other in times of trouble. And it feels as though somehow he comes to... He's one of the people that helps pick up the pieces, brings in the new world. See what the next card on the pack is. The card of envy. Now I'm going to talk about that because it's not him being envious. I understand the meaning of that card quite well. The card of the man holding the heart, which is him. And the card of strategy. On the bottom of the deck, the Angel of Love. This keeps coming up all the time, this card. Came up for Prince William. Did it come up for Trump? Can't remember. But anyway, the angel, this angel here is like a guiding light. She's just like an angel that's supporting these world leaders. Now, why have we got the card of envy? It's quite interesting. Why we've got the card of envy is he actually attracts a lot of envy. He attracts a lot of misunderstanding from the old guard who sneer at him, who look down on him, probably people within his own country as well who don't like what he stands for, whatever his politics are. Because what he's actually trying to do is to lead people, lead his country, and what he represents, his part of the consciousness, the collective consciousness, through the Golden Gate. Okay, the Golden Gate is symbolic. The Golden Gate is a place where you go from, putting it in dimensional terms, from 3D to 5D. He's trying to take Canada through that gate. If you look at what is the other side of the gate, it's all grey. It's the old paradigm, it's the old way. And there is this rather unpleasant figure here who's barring entry and saying, you can't go through. We don't want you to go through. Why would you want to go through? Stay with me, stay with this lovely darkness, you know, at least you know you're safe there. At least you know what, you might not like the darkness, but at least you understand it. It's what you're used to, you know, fear, envy, all of that. He's actually through the other side of it, which is why he comes across like this puppy dog. He has got this great light around him and he's trying to take other people through it with him. And he's pressing a lot of buttons. And he has got a lot of jealousy that is that that tries to be directed into him. I suspect he's so heavily protected that it doesn't really get very far. But he is the object of envy, disdain, and jealousy. It won't succeed because I was about to pull another card. I don't need another card because he's got a strategy. He's not just willy-nilly. He's really interested. He's not like, he's not willy-nilly just like, oh, you know, I believe in all of these, you know, unconventional principles, and I've got all these idealistic plans, and I haven't got a clue how it's going to happen, but just take my hand and we'll go. Underneath it all, he's a smart cookie. Did he go to Harvard? Probably not, because he's Canadian. But you know, that's the level of intelligence that he's at. I'm hearing Harvard for some reason. Maybe it's just symbolic. It's symbolic of the fact he's educated. He knows what he's doing. If he didn't go to somewhere like that, then he's just got natural intelligence. With Prince William, we looked at with Putin, we started off with Putin, who has this extraordinary intelligence. Mental faculties are sharp and precise. Donald Trump is no idiot either. He's intelligent. Then we had Prince William, who was coming through much more on the spectrum of emotional intelligence. And now we've got Justin Trudeau, who I actually feel is a combination of both intellect and emotional intelligence. And I can see Prince William, where's William gone? He's down here. William and Trudeau getting on pretty well together. They almost look quite alike, actually, sort of. Put them up. And I tell you what they both do, they both attract the youngsters. And I was so gobsmacked, to be honest, because my teenager, who's 15 and heavily into rap music and, you know, I don't know, she's a lovely girl, but, you know, she's not at all interested in maybe things that I'm interested in. Not that that's got anything to do with what I'm trying to say. What am I trying to say, Amanda? What I'm trying to say is that on Lucy's phone, she's got all these pictures of like rappers and I don't know, and a few people I have heard of, like Justin Bieber, but they're always, you know, they're people who she thinks are good looking, you know, and iconic. And the other day, she was just scrolling through her photographs and I saw she had a photograph of Prince William, but it wasn't as he looks now. He's a bit bald now, bless him. It was Prince William when he was he had all his hair and he was a real looker. And actually, Prince William has gone to Canada a lot of times, hasn't he? And I think there was a moment, this goes back maybe a decade, where William went to Canada when he was, you know, really very, very good looking, a bit younger, before kids, before Kate. And this was the photograph that Lucy had on her phone. And I remember all the girls were going wild in Canada for William at that time. And I don't know, there's something about Trudeau as well. I mean, he's good looking. Okay, he's good looking. And not meaning to be shallow, but he's a good looking guy. And I don't know, it's not that he's doing anything for me, but for youngsters, there is this thing about, do you want to look at, I want to say this in the right way. I want to say this in the right way. Because a lot of young people are extremely switched on, spiritually in tune, wise, wouldn't fall for just because you're good looking, I'm going to listen to you. But let's be honest, some people do that. And we know that in everyday life. And it's not right, but it happens. You can go to an interview, it's been proven, and if you have somebody who's, you know, grossly overweight, extremely ugly, dressed badly, versus somebody who comes in who's quite attractive, well-spoken, well-dressed, tends to be that person that gets the job. It's not right, but it's the way of the world, okay? So these guys who are quite good-looking, and I'm particularly going to put Trudeau up there, are speaking to a younger generation. Even if it's just that they get them on their radar. Like Lucy had Prince William on her phone. I couldn't believe it. It's like, what have you got him on your phone for? Oh, I just like the picture. But there's something about his energy that's obviously attracted her. She's 15, okay? I don't think she's going to have a picture, all respects to Donald Trump or Putin. They're not going to be on her phone, okay? So there's something about this youth. Youth is attractive. And these guys have got it. But he's not all that. He's also got strategy. He knows what he's doing, and he's coming from the right place. He is coming from the right place. He's the man holding a heart. To be honest, he wears his heart on his sleeve, I'm hearing, and you know, he's probably too much that way. He needs to maybe learn to be a little bit more guarded, actually. But who am I to say that? At the end of the day, that's the way he's made. That's the way Spirit have asked him to be. He's performing the mission that he's here to perform. Let's just have 2 cards for Justin Trudeau going forward. Justin Trudeau, 2 cards going forward. Would I want to be in a room with Justin Trudeau? Hell yes, of course I would. Don't be offended by that comment. I'm human. Yes, in all seriousness, I would want to be in a... I'll tell you why I'd want to be in a room with him. He's put a smile on my face. He's made me smile. You know, it's got nothing to... I don't actually find him that physically attractive. I can see he's a good-looking bloke, but he's not my type of bloke. So, you know, it's just the fact... there's something about him. I like his energy. He makes me smile. Yeah, of course I'd want to be in a room with him. I would feel very at ease in a room with him. I would feel like he didn't have an agenda. I would feel as though he has got the ability that somebody like Princess Diana has got the ability, and I suspect Prince William, where you can be the only person in the room and they're really interested in what you have to say. There's somebody who's just died that had that ability. Can't for the life of me think who it was. And it was one of the things they kept saying about that person, that, you know, you were the most interesting, fascinating person in the room when you were in their presence. Anyway, going forward, Justin Trudeau. Yes, I would feel comfortable in his energy. And I think that's one of his greatest assets, actually, on the world stage. I think he makes people feel very comfortable. He doesn't have to go in a very machismo, patriarchal way. He goes in and he's himself. Going forward, Justin Trudeau. Going forward, Justin Trudeau. Patience. That came up with Trump as well. Cornucopia is the horn of plenty. Card number 11, ruled by Metatron. The horn of plenty is abundance. He's trying to bring that in. He believes in abundance for all people. He doesn't believe in it being just for the select few, the elite. He's trying to bring it in. But he's got the card of patience next to that world card. This is linked to Trump. I think he comes in and helps America in some way. I don't even know what that means. Might just mean he's a good friend to America in the coming months and years. The bridges that might have been broken, he's able to hold out the olive branch and repair them. Okay, let's have a quick look at Theresa May. Our UK Prime Minister. Okay, there she is. As I've said in all of the videos so far, when I'm looking at these world leaders, please just try and put party politics aside and let's try and do what Spirit does very effortlessly, which is look at these people as divine beings in their own right, okay? And we find that very hard to do as human beings. So let's just suspend our own feelings on these people and let's just see what comes through for Theresa May. So she's operating in a man's world and believing that she has to behave like a man and move like a man and talk like a man. But yet her body language gives her away, I'm hearing. Because she always has these, she always wears statement jewellery. She always wears shoes which are like leopard skin, or, you know, that she dresses quite well. And it's like, that's where she, it's like she leaks who she really is. I mean, I know she's a woman, but it's like, again, what I'm being told is she would love to break free And actually those leopard skin shoes on her feet are who she really is inside. But I don't think she's even shown herself that aspect of herself. Her shoes are as far as it gets. It's like she's dipped her toes into the sea of unconventionality, as symbolised by these leopards. She's dipped her toe into the water of unconventionality, but it hasn't been able to go any further up because she's scared rigid of if she breaks ranks and behaves differently, that, I don't know, something may happen. Sorry, something just went off behind me. I'm just saying something has happened. Excuse me for one moment. Well, that's quite interesting. What's happened there is my computer behind me. I'm just uploading another video there, and the whole screen's just blanked out. It was symbolic of what I feel I'm just talking about with her energy, though, because it's like she's panic-stricken. Sorry, guys, I got distracted there. There was a computer behind me that just blacked out while I was talking about Theresa May. Interesting, I just said Victoria. What the hell is that about? That's about Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria and Theresa May, quite similar personalities. Theresa May has got a Victorian energy about her. I need a spray to help me here. She's actually quite hard to read, this woman. Let me just check I've got her higher self's permission to do so. Metatron, are we able to look at Theresa May? I'm going to have to come back to her, you know. How interesting. It's like there's a... I will respect it, because I have to respect what Spirit give me. It's like there's a blind being pulled down over her. Maybe that means her premiership's about to come to an end. I don't know. I'm being shown a black... Like one of those blinds at the window. It's just being pulled down. Closed. Well, she's closed off. I'm going to have to just respect what Spirit is saying to me here. I'm not allowed to go there right now. I don't know why. I might be allowed to go back at the end of the video. We'll have another go, but right now I can't look at her. How interesting, guys. Right, okay. Well, we'll put her back on the pile. Should we go to somebody else? Let's see who we're going to go to. I've got two left. I've got this guy. Chinese leader. And I got this guy. I'm going to ask my pendulum which one to do, because to be honest, after that Theresa May experience, it's like, right, what the hell's going on here? Okay, China. Obama. China. The Iron Curtain. Maybe that's what I just saw. I saw like something being pulled down. The Iron Curtain's more Russia though, isn't it? Who controls Russia? This guy. I'm sorry, sir, I don't know your name. Well, I know it, but I can't pronounce it, so apologies. We're just going to call him the Chinese... Is he the president? Let's just get his name up on my screen. I've only got about 20 minutes to look at this chap. But it's the way I work, it's the way I roll, so that's what we're going to carry on filming. Because this has to be done now, or otherwise it's not going to get done. I've got to go out in half an hour, you see. My mum duties commence. Right, Chinese president. I don't know if he's a president or a prime minister. He's a president. Chinese president, okay. Chinese President Z, I'm sure that's not how you pronounce his name. Chinese President Xi Jinping called for restraint during a phone call Saturday with President Trump following a dramatic exchange of threats between the US President and North Korea. I don't know if this is an old thing. Yeah, that's from August the 12th, 2017. So it's just bringing the North Korean energy in as well. Right, okay, Chinese President. Let's go for it. Let's look at his picture. We weren't able to look at Theresa May. We are looking at this one. Still don't know why I'm not able to look at her. Anyway, there we go. Chinese President, let it go. White light around me. Protection around me. Well, nervous laughter there. Would I feel comfortable in a room with him? He's hard to read because actually he looks a bit like a friendly granddad. He's actually got a face that is quite open and friendly. And yet we hear so many stories coming out of China. Let's turn to Metatron. Okay, Metatron, China. Might be I have to do China rather than him. Let's just see what comes through. Are we allowed to look here? China. Growing, expanding energy. I'm being shown an energy ball. Those of you that do healing know what I'm talking about. The energy ball is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So Chinese influence is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Building of an empire. I'm seeing turrets. Turret isn't the right word at all. It's like those tall buildings you see in places like Malaysia, which aren't a skyscraper, but they have the very pointed, almost like triangle-shaped buildings. Reaching a pinnacle. I'm just seeing mass expansion. I'm going to have to pull some cards. Let's take them from this deck. China, Chinese president. We don't understand their culture. Western culture has dominated for so many years. You are struggling to make sense of an alternative culture, fearing it to be fearing it because it's different. Four cards for China. I'm getting a headache. Just ask Spirit to step in and protect me here. I don't want to pick anything up. Getting a headache with him. He's a big headache for the world. I'm going to open a window. I'm also going to reach for Archangel Jophiel, which helps us to see the beauty in all things. So this is it's heavy energy, guys, of all the ones so far. I didn't feel it with Putin. I didn't feel it with Trump. I feel a heaviness and a headache with this guy. Cuddly granddad, he ain't. Well, maybe he is to his own family, but ooh, okay. Okay, 5 for him. To be fair, so it's funny weather here. I can't have that window open. Fucking storm blowing in. Interesting, I just said that, storm blowing in. We had the storm warning card for America. The fates, fate. Yang, male energy. Happy. Blessed. He thinks his nation is blessed. He thinks his nation is blessed. He believes his people to be happy. Whether they are or not is a completely different matter. Bottom of the pack, all that glitters is not gold. It's always my interpretation of that card. All that glitters is not gold. The pile of wealth masks a multitude of sorrow. I don't like that pile of gold. Look at where the money flows to. Look at how that wealth is created. Very unsettled feeling in my gut with this. Troubles me. But it's fated. Let's go back to the other deck, guys. I'm going to put the Trudeau's cards back into this pile and shuffle again because I want the full deck. And we'll see what we get because I think I'm getting better results from this other deck. China. This president. Namaste. Remember the divinity within every person. Would I feel comfortable in a room with him? Okay, I'm going to go back on what I just said. I'm seeing myself in a room with him, but it's as though the room is bugged. It's as though there are people listening to us outside of the room. We think we're alone, but we're not. Would I share his food? No, I wouldn't. Would I like a part in what he's trying to build? Not at the expense of others, no. Keep seeing those shining pyramid-y type towers. Right, 4 cards from this deck. China and this guy. Man holding a coin. He's holding all the wealth. All that glitters. Prince William had, I think, that coin, but I interpreted it differently. In that he was going to use his money for, I don't know, betterment. The angel of balance. The angels are trying to come in here and balance. Daughter romance, card 33. I'll ask what that's about in a moment. And the broken heart. The fairy tale has a bitter ending. The daughter romance I'm hearing is a fairy tale. Maybe he's taking his people on this tale of prosperity and riches, but it leads to broken hearts. I don't feel good about this. I don't feel good about this man and this, where he's leading this country at the moment. There is a false happiness here. This card of happy, 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 happy. It's a bit like what I said at the beginning. Oh, you know, he's like this lovely, comfortable granddad. Oh, it's okay. He's all right. He looks all right. He's got a nice, happy, friendly face. All that glitters is not gold. Going forward, Metatron. Don't want to leave this video on a negative, but going forward. China, going forward. They will go forward. China going forward. Yeah, they're going to carry on going forward, blossoming abundance. But it comes at the expense of... Hi, I'm running out of battery actually, so and I'm running out of time. But I'm quite glad I did this second video straight after the first, because I've been able to link back to some of what came through in the first video, which, to be honest, when you're channeling spirit, it's very much, it comes through and then you do forget what you said. So I'm going to leave it there. The one thing I was just mentioning was the fact that, yeah, China's going to blossom, it's going to grow in influence, it's going to expand. It feels fated that that is to happen. At the end of the day, our world always seems to have had an empire that rules it. So there is an ongoing expansion there with China. It does seem to lead to some scarcity and poverty consciousness with its own people. There's going to be great, enormous wealth and also a lot of suffering there, unfortunately. Sad to say that. Don't like to be the bearer of bad news. But I think how I'd like to end it is that to not be too discouraged, because so far we've got some examples of a new breed of man that is coming through onto this planet, slowly but surely. Justin Trudeau, obviously, we were looking at in this video, and there are others like him that are coming. I think what might be a nice thing to do in video 3 is to look around the world for, you know, where are the other more enlightened leaders that are coming forward. Some of them, Metatron is saying to me, are not yet in power. The word power vacuum came in when we were looking at what happens after Trump falls. So, you know, a power vacuum creates space for new ideas, new blood, new energy. So I think, you know, what we have to do is focus on that new blood that wants to come through. It feels as though, I mean, you can't really, I'm trying to think, well, we've got expansion of the Chinese influence here. How long it goes on for, I'm not being told yet. Let's just see if we can get one more final card on this, but I suspect they won't tell me, because, you know, we're just reading it as of today. If I do this again in 6 months' time, it's going to be different and we'll have new information to play with. There's only so much you can take in at one time. One more card for China. 6th chakra, third eye. So at the moment they're blocked. They can't, you know, they're not leading from a very enlightened place in being able to see a higher perspective or the wider world and taking that into account. But let's hope that that becomes unblocked. So there is and on the bottom of the deck also is the 5th chakra, which is the heart. So the heart and the third eye need to open in enough people collectively, and then of course that always feeds back everywhere in the world as well, including to Chinese leadership. So that's what we need to be hoping for. It was interesting that I couldn't get Theresa May. I might try her again another day. And yeah, any other suggestions for me, please, in terms of who else would like me to look at, ones that people will have heard of and that are relevant. I nearly did the French president as well. I think he's got a part to play in it all. Macron. Yeah, I will do him next time. But anyway, for today I'm going to leave that there. And lots of love, everyone. Let's just end with Archangel Jophiel and the Golden Ray. Surround our whole world in the golden ray, and let's ask for all leaders of this world to be able to see with eyes of beauty and vision and wisdom, and for these changes that are to happen as peacefully as possible, for the new earth to come in. Namaste. Bye bye for now.